wintry weather storms through Saskatchewan, what the system is bringing to our province. Concerns raised over exclusion in schools, what some say students aren't being included in. And more tough talk on tariffs, how Saskatchewan's potash industry is bracing.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the weather. We are just under 2 weeks away from winter officially arriving, but Mother Nature is already putting much of the province through a full preview. From rain and above zero temperatures to strong winds and fresh snow, it's a mixed bag. As Carla Shinkrick tells us, in Saskatoon, residents are taking the first real taste of the season in stride. A fresh wave of wintry weather swept across Saskatchewan today, with many areas getting dumped on.
We had one report of a quick 5 centimeters in Saskatoon, which has since lightened to light snow.
The system brought enough snow to wreak havoc on roadways. RCMP issued an advisory Tuesday afternoon warning about the impact on driving. They report between 12 a.m. and 2 p.m. on December 9th. They received 47 reports of weather-related calls in Saskatchewan, which include collisions and vehicles stuck on roadways or ditches. The white stuff also kept shovels moving.
I go down there and make a path for the mailman so that he can get through here.
Farther south, earlier rainfall transitioned into snow in several areas. Some highways faced temporary closures. Despite the challenges, many residents say they're finding ways to enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice weather, you know. Especially new for me. Every day I learn something new. Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sudan.
Yeah, sledding is the best part.
It's not so cold, too cold for you? No?
It could be colder. Already broke the big shovel for the year, so we got the little tiny guy out. And I'm going to dig my Jeep out now so I can plug it in over the cold weekend.
The cold weekend will start Thursday with strong winds making those numbers feel even more extreme, with wind chills expected to push into the minus 40s across much of southern Saskatchewan, including Saskatoon.
By Thursday afternoon, that's when we're going to really see temperatures plummet, expecting overnight lows well into the minus 20s. And then for the weekend, those temperatures plummet a little bit further.
And a reminder from officials to check the highways hotline before heading out. Carla Shinkrick, CTV News, Saskatoon. The city of Prince Albert says the wintry weather has impacted its transit system this week. Yesterday, the city said cold weather and the snowfall resulted in some routes being taken offline or moved to hourly service. As of this afternoon, the city said the Core Express bus was not in operation. The all-day bus was leaving hourly from the transfer station at 15 minutes past the hour, and the rush hour bus was leaving hourly at 45 minutes past the hour. Well, Jeff, it's nice to see people having fun with the snow, but maybe not loving the cold.
Maybe not. And you know what? It wasn't super cold because things started out relatively mild, Chantel, but it really didn't matter. The big deal of the day was this clipper system that moved on through, and we're not done with clipper systems. So this first one goes through, brings us to some places 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. We don't have any official numbers quite yet, but another system is going to be making its way through northern parts of Saskatchewan. Another clipper system going to slide down through southwestern Saskatchewan out of Alberta. So lots to cover, and we'll talk about that later on.
Inclusion Saskatchewan is raising concern about students with disabilities being excluded from education, saying new information gathered from school divisions across the province shows just how often these exclusions are happening. CTV's Stacey Hine has those details.
Inclusion Saskatchewan says students with intellectual disabilities are still being left out of the classroom, and that the lack of data has made the issue hard to track. So it began collecting information on how often students are excluded from class.
The numbers were shocking, but they also did prove what we were noticing from people that call us for advocacy support.
After obtaining information from 18 of the province's 27 school divisions, Inclusion Saskatchewan found about 1 in 9 students with intensive support needs were excluded from school on a part or full-time basis last school year. It says some students were sent home when support workers were unavailable, while others were put on altered schedules, attending school for as little as 30 minutes a day. It says the main drivers were funding decisions, staffing shortages, behavioral support gaps, and barriers in accessible transportation. The Saskatchewan Teachers Federation says the findings reflect what it has been hearing from its members.
Primarily around the lack of resources that are available in school to meet the needs of all students, especially those students who have significant challenges.
The Saskatchewan School Boards Association says the report confirms some of what divisions already suspected.
We do know that we are working very hard as school divisions to provide a more inclusive environment for all of our students, and that there's still work to do.
In a statement to CTV News, the Ministry of Education says, quote, ensuring that every student has access to education is a priority of our government. It says it recognizes concerns about students' experiences and is committed to working with school divisions to provide every opportunity for students to succeed.
So many are committed to the concepts of inclusion, but we have a very large and complex system. And so I believe that together, when we collaborate and we get creative, we can find some solutions for these students.
Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The U.S. president's comments that he may put tariffs on Canadian potash isn't sitting well with producers in our province. As Sierra D'Souza Butts reports, experts say the move would have a negative impact for agriculture on both sides of the border.
A lot of it does come in from Canada, and so we'll end up putting very severe tariffs on that if we have to.
U.S. President Donald Trump suggesting the country could impose tariffs on fertilizer exports from Canada in an effort to support American producers. That's despite a significant gap in potash production between the U.S. and Canada, according to Stuart Smythe, who specializes in agriculture and resource economics.
The U.S. produces about 400,000 tons of potash per year, compared to Canada around 13 million tons, and we export half of that to the U.S.
He adds the move would be felt by farmers and consumers on both sides of the border.
If it was really there and it was that economical to be in production, they would be producing it and drawing on their own domestic supplies rather than going through the higher cost of importing it from Saskatchewan.
When comments like this come, we take a breath, take the president seriously. Don't always take him literally. Word for word with respect to what he says.
The Saskatchewan government says it continues to work with countries internationally, aiming to not rely on the states as its sole trading partner.
Let's remember as Canadians what we're actually trying to negotiate here, which is a broader replacement for or update to USMCA.
In a statement to CTV News, the Saskatchewan Mining Association says U.S. farmers depend on Canadian potash and Canadian farmers depend on U.S. phosphate. Potentially imposing tariffs will increase costs for farmers, strain supply chains, and ultimately raise food prices for consumers.
Given that we export about 50% of our potash to the U.S., I think, like most things, it would be very difficult to pivot in a few months.
The Saskatchewan Mining Association says it will continue to engage constructively with policymakers to support predictable trade. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan's housing market continues to be one of the most affordable in the country, but there is concern over some long-standing challenges in the market. Keenan Sorokon has more.
The Saskatchewan Realtors Association is worried the province's low housing inventory isn't the concern it used to be, with everyone becoming used to these market conditions.
After a period of 5 years, people sort of assume that that's how the market in Saskatchewan is, but it's not. That's not a normal market.
During the annual State of Real Estate Conference Tuesday, realtors got the opportunity to network, sharpen their skills, and hear from industry leaders. And they also got to hear from policymakers. Premier Scott Moe addressed the crowd about the large increase to housing starts year over year, but he doesn't want the real estate industry to rely solely on government policy.
Government certainly shouldn't get in the way, hindering investment.
There are more realtors working in Saskatoon than properties available to purchase. At the beginning of the month, there were less than 600 properties on the market, with more than 800 realtors working in the city.
We in Saskatchewan have the lowest amount of realtors per population of all provinces in the the country. So we have a very resilient market of professionals who can service the market. So it just explains how dire that situation is of needing more inventory in the market.
Garrett says that's helping fuel frustration from both home buyers and realtors competing for limited listings.
You can have the most affordable market in the country, but if it's not easy to get into and it requires a lot of patience, then that is a very frustrating place.
With housing starts and permits moving quickly, Garrett says more patience is needed until those homes can be built. But she's encouraged to see how municipal governments and the provincial government can further align to increase housing inventory across the continuum. Keenan Sora-Khan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The provincial auditor is calling for better collaboration between the Global Transportation Hub and the City of Regina on major developments at the GTH. It follows a review of how the city and GTH competed against each other as the location for a new Costco store. As Wayne Mantika tells us, it ended up costing taxpayers nearly $7 million in subsidies.
Work is progressing on a new Costco warehouse in Regina's West Terra neighborhood after the city paid a $6.78 million incentive to attract the project. Costco had proposed to build nearby at the Global Transportation Hub, where land was cheaper. The city made up the difference through an incentive. That prompted a review by the provincial auditor, who concluded that there should have been better communication between the GTH and the city.
Who are the various parties that they should be collaborating with when they're making decisions to potentially, sell land and there's going to be development at the hub?
The auditor concluded that better communication could possibly have led the GTH to saying no to Costco.
It's important, and that's why we're recommending that they do formalize what those procedures look like, because otherwise there is the potential that additional costs may have been avoided if some of this collaboration and those procedures had been better defined.
The auditor did not review the city's actions because that would be outside the mandate of her office. The NDP blamed the provincial government for its part in what happened.
Stay in your lane, provincial government. There's one taxpayer, and that's the people of Saskatchewan.
The Global Transportation Hub says Costco made the initial approach for land and was offered property at the going rate.
We accept the auditor's recommendation on this. Obviously, when this came out in May of last year, I was actually appreciative that this audit happened.
The provincial auditor found it acceptable for the GTH to try attract both retail and warehouse developments, but in consultation with any affected municipalities. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
The death of a man over the weekend in Prince Albert is now being investigated as a homicide. Police say they were called to a theft at a home in the 700 block of 18th Street West on Saturday afternoon at about 3:45. When officers were there, they found a 41-year-old man dead inside the residence. An autopsy was done yesterday and the death ruled a homicide. No arrests have been made at this time. A Quebec man arrested last week in Regina in connection to a grandparent scam is also facing charges by Saskatoon police. Saskatoon police say between November 24th and 27th, they received 5 reports of victims being defrauded of more than $45,000 by someone claiming to be a grandson of the victims. The suspect claimed he was involved in a crash and needed money to get out of jail. In each case, the victims provided between $5,000 and $26,000 to a different person who went to the grandparents' home. 50-year-old Cyprian Theodore is charged with 5 counts of fraud and breaching court conditions. Theodore is one of 2 people charged last week by Regina police following similar reports of people being scammed in the Queen City and White Butte. A man accused in the shooting death of a woman who was a passenger in a vehicle on a highway near Weyburn this fall will be back in court before Christmas. Chris Fallman is accused of second-degree murder in connection with the death of Tanya Myers on Highway 39 just outside of Weyburn in September. Initially charged with manslaughter, Fallman was denied bail after a hearing last month. He appeared in court today in Weyburn Provincial Court. His matters have been adjourned until December 18th. As the National Lacrosse League season gets underway, the Rush are ready to return to the finals this season. Hallie Mandrick has the story.
Last season, the Rush just missed tasting victory, losing in Game 3 of the NLL Finals.
It is great. 2 is fine, but there's nothing like
Now they're back, starting off with a win against Calgary and hoping to carry the momentum back to the National Lacrosse League Cup with the hopes of winning it this time.
We have that attitude of rock, chisel, hammer on our team. Just keep grinding and good things happen.
The Game 3 loss in the championship series has perhaps left a chip on their shoulder. Returning players from the Rush last season say that memory will serve as fuel this year.
We thought we had the team to do it last year. We brought everyone back, and that's the goal this season. It's pretty much championship or bust, I think.
Much of the roster from last season is still intact. One key piece of the puzzle is Zach Mans, who says that consistency on the roster will be useful heading into this season.
We feel good. We have that playoff experience. We returned pretty much everyone on the entire team. So we have some building blocks to build upon now, and we're excited to play this season.
It's a sentiment that Coach Keenan agrees with.
They really like the hard work part of it. That's one thing. I also think they're a real tight-knit group, and they all get along really well and respect one another. We have really good leadership, and that starts with being a good teammate.
The Rush are on the road this weekend, heading to Ottawa to face off against the Black Bears on Friday, and their next home game will take place on December 20th. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still to come, a new look at a Canadian drug kingpin still at large. Also, the latest turbulence circulating at Air Transat. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Political theater gripped the House of Commons today, with the government and opposition grappling over the Memorandum of Understanding on a pipeline to the BC coast. A Conservative motion was voted down late this afternoon, which directly quoted the MOU for the most part. The Conservative motion asked whether Liberal MPs support the construction of, quote, one or more pipelines, and also asked to modify the tanker ban on the West Coast. The wording came directly from the Memorandum of Understanding between Alberta and the feds, but it left out carbon pricing as well as engagement with BC and First Nations. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre then partially amended the motion to include the latter, but it was defeated. The exercise was all academic. The vote is non-binding. An anxious day of uncertainty and tension. Passengers wondering if Air Transat pilots will go on strike at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, or if there will be an 11th hour reprieve. Heather Wright has more on the last-minute negotiations and the efforts to get travelers home.
Air Transat check-in counters quiet today as the clock ticks down to a possible pilot strike. The current negotiations have been described as intensive as the union and airline try to avert the first pilot strike in the company's history. Air Transat says it has improved its most recent offer to the union and is encouraging them to accept it.
As an example, for a senior captain, top scale, year 5, we're looking at over $100,000 pay increase on a yearly basis. So this is a significant, very generous offer that we've made.
Air Transat's 750 pilots are represented by the Airlines Pilot Association, the union that negotiated last fall's deal for Air Canada pilots, which included a 42% pay bump. Experts say ALPA is using that same playbook here.
They're trying to replicate roughly the same deal as they can that Air Canada pilots achieved. Again, last year, going up to the last minute, but they averted a strike in that case.
In a statement, ALPA says both sides remain at the bargaining table. We owe it to our passengers and pilots to reach a deal. We are committed to negotiating a fair and modern contract that will bring stability to our pilots and our airline. Air Transat has not turned an annual profit since 2018, and if the pilots do strike, some wonder how long the airline could survive.
This is, in my opinion, an existential crisis for Transat. Transat may not survive if it goes on strike.
This afternoon, Air Transat announced it would be canceling a second wave of flights, bringing the total today to 12, with another 6 flights already canceled for tomorrow. Heather Wright, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
The federal government introduced legislation today intended to better protect children and address gender-based violence. The Justice Department is touting the measures as generational reforms to the criminal code. Abigail Beeman reports.
That happened on Mother's Day 2003.
A survivor of attempted intimate partner femicide, Nneka McGregor feels lucky she didn't end up a statistic. In 2024, 187 women in Canada were killed violently.
I've spent the last 2+ decades advocating for a lot of the changes that have been proposed today.
McGregor says the Liberals' new legislation goes a long way to end gender-based violence, especially the move to make femicide classified as first-degree murder and a new criminal offense for certain types of coercive and controlling behaviors to help stop abuse before it's too late.
We have an opportunity to better protect kids who are at risk of exploitation and to address very real concerns about violence against women, including violence that could be fatal.
If passed, C-16 will restore a dozen mandatory minimum penalties previously found unconstitutional, but also give courts some discretion to order shorter sentences to address the problem of potential charter infringement. The bill also makes it illegal to distribute deepfakes without someone's consent.
Unless you do XYZ, then I'm going to share that with your family. I am going to post it to all of your friends. And, children are rightfully terrified.
This cybersecurity expert says the bill closes a critical loophole and legislation is long overdue.
The delay in introducing this law has had a profound effect on kids.
There is some overlap from the beleaguered Trudeau-era online harms bill, namely the requirement for internet service providers to notify police about any child porn. But the Justice Minister says this isn't a copy and paste. He hopes to have the support of all parties to pass this bill. It's not yet clear if he will. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The FBI has released a new photo of a Canadian fugitive accused of being an international drug kingpin. Investigators say the newly obtained image is of Ryan wedding in Mexico this past summer. The former Olympic snowboarder is believed to be hiding in the country with the support of a cartel. He is accused of running a multi-billion-dollar drug empire. Wedding is also accused of orchestrating multiple murders. The Bureau is offering a $15 million reward for information leading to his arrest. Canada's ambassador to the U.S. is stepping down in the new year. Kristen Hillman says this is the right time to put a team in place to see through negotiations for renewing the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. She plans to help the new ambassador learn the ropes and will be available to the Canadian negotiating team in the coming months. Hillman was appointed ambassador in 2019 and began the job in March of 2020. She helped lead the renegotiation of the Continental Free Trade Agreement during U.S. President Donald Trump's first term in 2017. The federal government has signed a partnership with 2 Canadian companies to help protect our north.
The Arctic is transforming at an unprecedented speed. Melting ice is opening new waters and attracting new activity. For Canada, this is not a distant concern anymore. It's a direct challenge to our sovereignty and to our security.
Telesat and MDA Space will develop military satellite communications for the Canadian Armed Forces in the Arctic. Ottawa says the military currently has limited options in the region, and most are commercial rather than military networks. A contract worth $2.92 million has been awarded to Telesat in partnership with the MDA Space for engineering and analysis. Well, Jeff, if you haven't cracked out the shovel, I guess tonight is the night.
Tonight is the night for those people who actually take the time to shovel, because some don't. But we can tell you that, yes, probably about at least 5 centimeters of snow in the Saskatoon area, and other places will have gotten greater accumulations. But a couple of, one clipper system has made its way through our province, and a couple more are on the way. Let's take a look and see what's going on in terms of the current temperatures. It's minus 15 in Saskatoon, minus 13 in Prince Albert, minus 17 in the Battlefords. All 3 locations, it's still pretty breezy, so of course these numbers feeling like they're in the low 20s or maybe up to around minus 20 in that respect. Still some flurries in the Prince Albert area. The Saskatoon's almanac, well, first of all, we'll tell you that our daytime high, minus 8 degrees. That was at 6 in the morning. Temperatures have been dropping throughout the day, so right now our current temperature happens to be our 24-hour low, so likely just before midnight we'll know what the actual 24-hour low is. 8 degrees is the record warm temperature from 2005. The record cold temperature on the 9th of December, minus 39 in 1977. 9:03 is when the sun came up and the sun went down at 5 to 5.
Coming up, when buy and sells go sideways, a look at a purchase that turned violent and the advice to sellers to be safe.
Competition is heating up inside the MasterChef Canada kitchen. Watch the episode tonight at 8 right here on CTV. Join me tomorrow morning when we talk to the latest eliminated home cook.
Well, let's take a look through the live lens of Skycam. It's a beautiful looking city, and yes, we know that it's not super cold yet. It's getting that way as we head towards the weekend, but right now it's the dig out that Chantel was alluding to earlier on, so not snowing for the moment in Saskatoon, but more snow is on the way. Let's take a look at what we've got going on. So here is that clipper that came through and dumped snow across Saskatchewan, not the only Saskatchewan, but other provinces as well. But ultimately, a couple of clipper systems in different locations are going to make their way from Alberta into Saskatchewan, and we will see that on the future cast. It's sort of a band of snow that's running in a north-south line. But just to recap, our temperatures, -15 in Saskatoon, -13 in Prince Albert with snow, and -17 in the Battlefords. On to our hot spot. That was Maple Creek at 6 degrees. Stony Rapids and Uranium City tie for the cold spot, -25. Around the province we go. Currently, it is -20 in Lloydminster, -9 in Swift Current, 1 degree colder in Regina, -11 in York, and -7 in Estevan. Of course, Estevan was dealing with icy roads, closing down the roads in and around the city earlier today. Temperatures in this part of our map range from -12 degrees in a number of communities down to -18 in Meadow Lake. Many places around that -16 degree mark. Making our way up north, temperatures drop into the -20s in a number of locations. It's -17 though in La Ronge, -18 in Sandy Bay Island Falls, and just about -20 in South End where it's -19. -5 in Maple Creek and Coronach, -2 in East End, but temperatures do cool off as we make our way northward. -14 right now in Outlook. Towards the eastern border, -9 in Broadview, -7 in Carlisle. It's also -7 in Weyburn, -11 in Melville. So here's what I'm talking about. That purple leaving. Okay, get out of there, purple. Oh, no! That's right. A couple of different clipper systems, and they're sort of working together. And we have that north-south line of snow as it makes its way across Saskatchewan as you roll through the early morning hours and into tomorrow. So we are going to keep our eye on that. Quick look at what we've got going on around the province. Temperatures in the -teens and low 20s for many parts of the north. We've got some snow expected in Buffalo Narrows and Key Lake. A snowy situation for west central Saskatchewan, but mild conditions, relatively speaking, in Kindersley and Rosetown on Wednesday. -2 in Swift Current, -8 in Outlook, Leader -1, and Maple Creek on the plus side, but with windy conditions, a high of 4. -7 for Moose Jaw, -12 in Regina, -13 in Estevan, -18 in Yorkton. As you can see, still expecting snow in Regina and Moose Jaw. Expecting snow in Melfort and Watrous as well. Flurries in Humboldt, Hudson Bay, mainly cloudy. On to the Battlefords, dropping down to -23. A risk of frostbite that lingers into tomorrow. 2 to 4 centimeters of snow still expected on Wednesday as that second system goes through. Things start to taper off somewhat on Thursday. A cold Friday and Saturday in store. And then by the time we get to a week from today, -4. Prince Albert dropping down to -26 overnight, -16 tomorrow. Again, a risk of frostbite overnight into tomorrow. -18 on Thursday. Friday, sunny and cold, staying that way on Saturday and warming up to -5 1 week from today. And Saskatoon's overnight temperature -25. The winds back off a little bit, but still a risk of frostbite. Another additional up to 3 centimeters of snow on Wednesday. Thursday, still some more snow. A cold weekend in store for the most part, but warming up to -4 1 week from today. Raul Malo, the soulful tenor and frontman of the Grammy-winning band The Mavericks, has died. Malo's wife, Betty, posted on his Facebook page last night. He died after battling cancer. The frontman of The Mavericks has documented his health journey on social media since diagnosed in June of 2024 that he was receiving treatment for colon cancer. In September, he said on Instagram that he had a rare complication when cancer spreads to membranes that surround the brain and spinal cord. Raul Malo was 60. Innovative Canadian and classic rock band Triumph will be hitting the road for a 50th anniversary tour. The band says next year's outing will mark their first tour in 30 years. Halifax rockers April Wine will also be taking part in the tour. They've announced 10 Canadian stops. None are here in Saskatchewan. The closest shows for fans are in Edmonton, Calgary, and Winnipeg. Tickets go on sale on Friday. And Jimmy Kimmel has renewed his contract with Disney's ABC to continue hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live. A source says Kimmel signed a one-year extension to take his late-night show through May 2027. Earlier this year, Kimmel was caught in the middle of the U.S. Political divide when ABC executives temporarily pulled his show. The move came after his comments during a monologue regarding Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. Hollywood quickly rallied around Kimmel, boycotting Disney, and the show was brought back. Still, some speculate the short duration of this extension indicates Kimmel's run on late-night TV is winding down.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day, and you've got a little bit of variety tonight.
I do. I try to have variety, but sometimes it's the way it is. But, hey, yes, we do have variety. Starting off with this one from Charlotte. Our first sled ride of the season on the trails at Sled Lake. We had an awesome day, but need more snow. Well, if you need more snow, you might have to talk to this guy. There we go, Todd Harms. He's the operations manager at Optimist Hill, and he writes, helping Mother Nature, making snow, hoping to open this weekend. What's the weather going to be like, Jeff? Well, I can tell you, we expect things to be pretty cold on Friday and Saturday. Maybe that's good for snowmaking, but Sunday things are starting to improve, and next week looks pretty good. So, Todd, I hope that works out, and that hill looks great. It's fantastic to watch as you drive by at night. And then finally, from Andy Renault in Tisdale, my daughter's kitty cat ready for Christmas. That's quite the little hat on that cat. It's a cat in a hat. All right, and if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca or scan the QR code on the screen, and you can send those pictures right to us.
Still to come on CTV News, when vending turns violent, why one Calgary couple story is a reminder for sellers to be safe. A couple from Calgary says they felt like they were fighting for their lives during a violent attempted robbery in their home. The disturbing incident was caught on home security cameras. CTV's Kevin Green reports.
Saturday afternoon, Jason Nguyen was trying to sell a laptop. He let a pair of prospective buyers into his Dover home to test it. Seconds later, a can of bear spray was unleashed in his face.
The moment that I turned towards the laptop, that's when I was hit with the bear spray. They sprayed all across my face, towards the eye, and at that point, I'm just acting reactively. For me, the safety of my wife is priority.
His wife, Nan Au, heard the commotion and ran out of their bedroom. By then, Nguyen was being pulled out the front door.
I see he's being dragged outside, and in front of our house, we have the shovel. So I just grabbed the shovel and kicking the individual that hurting my husband and to let him let go.
As Al kept swinging the shovel, one of the men broke away and ran down the steps, then turned and began kicking Nguyen in the ribs.
I'm really scared. I'm mostly scaring for our life.
But the assailants weren't finished yet. After kicking Nguyen in the front yard, one of them ran back into the house.
So he dropped his phone. So he came in and he picked up his phone. At that point, I still didn't know why he was re-entering our home, right? And so I started attacking him.
The attackers never did get the laptop, but the assault left the family home's walls stained with bear spray residue and Nguyen's arms and legs covered in bruises. The Calgary Police Service says it is investigating whether this attack is connected to other online sale robberies in the city.
And do we have people out there doing this on the regular? Regrettably, yes, we do. Do we know this is tied to one of those things? We don't know that yet, but we'll certainly be looking into that.
The Better Business Bureau says incidents like this underscore the risk of letting strangers into your home to complete a transaction.
Don't meet without at least one other person. When you go somewhere, make sure it's a busy public spot, and you know that will go a long ways to ensuring your safety.
Both police and the BBB say one of the safest places to complete an online sale is in the parking lot of a police station. But even then, they advise doing it in daylight for maximum safety. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
When we come back, Saskatoon set to host another curling championship. And later, when Saskatchewan streets get slick, you skate.
All right, time to take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. And yes, it includes snow for some areas. Well, for a number of areas. That second system that I was talking about, that sort of tandem clipper system, is going to make its way through the province. And with it comes the snow. And we've got some cold temperatures out there. Don't be, we can't get away from that. Minus 15 in Meadow Lake and Spirit Wood and Melford. A little warmer by a few degrees in Waters, but relatively mild conditions. Kindersley and Outlook around minus 7 degrees. Minus 16 in Hudson Bay. And then as we take a look down south, well, we've got ourselves mild temperatures. Certainly that's true of Maple Creek. But as we make our way towards the eastern side of the province, temperatures do start to get colder. And yes, we get down as cold as minus 16 in Carlisle, minus 18 in Kenora, minus 14 in Broadview, just minus 6 in Coronach. Now, let's take a closer look at Etonia. Minus 6 degrees for tomorrow. Some flurries expected, but it's going to be a windy day in Etonia. Hopefully things improve for Saturday, because on Saturday in Etonia, it's going to be the old-fashioned Christmas that's going on. Lots of things going on. I'll have more details for you on that later on. But yes, minus 6 degrees tomorrow with some snow. And Etonia is one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Greetings, everyone. The Canadian Western Agribition has always been a place to celebrate the roots and future of agriculture in Canada, including the country's First Peoples. At this year's event, 2 days were focused on Indigenous agriculture. Success stories were shared from across the country, illustrating where the sector is heading.
Indigenous producers, entrepreneurs, industry pros, and academic members gathered at the Canadian Western Agribition to discuss Indigenous agriculture opportunities happening across the country. Some of the major ideas behind these initiatives: building food security and food sovereignty during a significant time in Canadian agriculture.
We have the best innovations and the smartest minds right here at home. So there's a lot of talk of agriculture abroad and agriculture around the world, but at the end of the day, we're in the mecca of agriculture in the world right here.
This is the 12th edition of the Indigenous Agriculture Summit at Agribition, held as a 2-day event for the second year in a row. The expanded time frame, leaving room for agenda topics like land and business management, grazing and buffalo repopulation, and more.
For the Canadian Western Agribition, this is a really important, I find this year they've really tried to accelerate what this looks like. And, this year we've implemented as part of the Indigenous Ag Summit to have tours to go down through the show, to go down through the barns, to really start having those conversations on what can it look like on our land.
There are a number of Indigenous ag operations happening across the country, all ranging in size. A significant piece of information being shared is the economic growth opportunities these operations can achieve.
Right now, we're probably sitting at about a 1.5 billion GDP miss by not harnessing Indigenous agriculture as well as it could be across the country. And this 2 days gives us an opportunity to get that platform of industry, academia, to really come together to accelerate and build the ag industry as a whole.
The Indigenous Ag Summit was presented by FCC alongside NCIAF, all with the intention of helping Indigenous communities get into agriculture.
We want to see more, opportunity, more education, more programming, more access to capital for that economic empowerment, and getting our next 7 generations educated to really leave this land as better than how we found it.
All people. If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Saskatoon's Nutana Curling Club is set to host the 2026 Canadian Senior Curling Championships. The best 50 and over men's and women's curling teams across Canada will compete from December 6th to the 13th, one of 2 major events hosted in the city, with the Montana's Brier being less than 3 months later. It's the first time the tournament has been hosted in Saskatchewan since 2008, when it was held in Prince Albert. The last time the Nutana Curling Club hosted Senior Curling Championships was in 1999. The winners will represent Canada at the 2027 World Senior Curling Championships. The 2026 CFL schedule has been released, but the Riders and their fans will have the opening week off. After a week 1 bye, the Riders will host the BC Lions June 13th. Saskatoon will be hosting a preseason game May 23rd at Griffith Stadium, the first game in Saskatoon since 1991. The Riders will play everyone twice, but 3 matchups with the BC Lions and Edmonton Elks. The full schedule is up on our website. Meanwhile, Jamarcus Hardrick will be back in Rider Green next year. The 35-year-old offensive lineman started in all but one of the Riders' regular season games in 2025 in a comeback season from a major injury that ended in a Grey Cup championship. This will be his 3rd season with the Riders. Hardrick allowed only 17 pressures on 579 pass blocking snaps all season and was the CFL's 2025 most outstanding offensive lineman. Health Canada has issued a recall for McCain's frozen tater tots due to possible pieces of plastic. The recalled tasty taters were distributed across Canada. They were sold in 800-gram and 1.8-kilogram sizes. Health Canada says if you have the product, do not consume it. Turning to local prices now, the average gas price in Saskatoon currently at $1.19 a liter. The lowest price in town is $1.099. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco jumped $3.31 today, and Nutrien finished the day at $81.22. Coming up, following in the footsteps of dinosaurs. Then gliding into the snowy season.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Get comfortable and settle in with these top shows all right here tonight on CTV. We have some breaking news at this hour. It appears that Air Transat pilots have reached a tentative deal averting a possible strike. Transat AT Inc. says it had been canceling flights and winding down operations ahead of a possible work stoppage. Neither the union nor the company have released any details of a tentative agreement at this point. They had been pushing for wages, job security, and had been threatening to go on strike at 3 a.m. But just a few minutes ago, we are hearing word that there is possibly a tentative deal, so we'll keep you posted on that. All right. Well, scientists have confirmed new information while studying 16,000 fossil footprints in central Bolivia. Take a look at this. A team of paleontologists documented the footprints left by theropods, which is a dinosaur group that includes the T-Rex. Their study is based on 6 years of regular field visits. The findings represent the highest number of theropod footprints recorded anywhere in the world. It also found these giant creatures moved in herds of all sizes, with some footprints belonging to dinosaurs that were roughly 10 meters tall, and others, Jeff, tiny as a chicken.
Dino chicken.
All sorts of sizes.
Actually, dino chicken was something on the menu at the, I think, the Tasty Freeze in Drumheller.
Okay, I believe you. All right, we've been talking about the weather, right?
Yes.
It's been really slick in many parts of the province.
Yes.
And, well, when it's slick, you just deal with it, right? This video taken in Estevan. The streets were so icy, you could skate on them. That's what this little guy did. Roxanne is sending this video to CTV News, showing her grandson taking road hockey to the next level. He's super good.
He's very good. And he doesn't appear to be that old, so that kid's really wheeling.
He is.
Okay,
He's
well.
be the next star.
Let's see some stops and starts. Let's go.
And it's bumpy, so he's
yes,
very
exactly. He's managing.
grounded.
Exactly. He's tough. He's Saskatchewan tough. That
Yes.
kid.
Where'd you learn to skate? On
Exactly.
Saskatchewan streets.
Exactly. We've got ourselves some cold conditions again tomorrow, but let's take a look at our numbers. Minus 23 in the morning, but warming up mid-afternoon. Still below seasonal, but we expect some snow to start showing up tomorrow afternoon.
He could be the next John Flatters.
He could be.
Super skater.
Shouldn't he aim higher than that?
Oh, John's in the room.
I know he's right over there. I know where he is.
He's crying now. Thanks for watching.
Poor John. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. Come back.